Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first out-of-print set in Flesh and Blood history, and it's not the set that I expected. Check it out. It's Crucible of War. This is the announcement that went live like 30 minutes ago. I was literally building a deck, and I had my phone charging in the other room, and I go to pick up my phone after I was done, and I look at it, and I realize everyone is talking about this, and so I missed it. Oops, I missed it. Crucible of War is now out of print, as we can see like this. Crucible of War is officially out of print. The last wave of Crucible of War Unlimited is either with distributors or on its way to distributors. Legend Story Studios will not be reprinting Crucible of War again. As with all Flesh and Blood cards that were originally printed in Crucible of War may be printed in future sets. So let's talk about, one, the idea of some of these unlimited sets starting to go out of print, and then two, what this is going to do to the the player base of Flesh and Blood, because both things are going to be very interesting. People that collect and people that play, and this is something that I've kind of expected to happen for a while now. I've been talking to some friends consistently for the past few months, and whenever the idea of something going out of print, is brought up in a conversation, my general thought for the past few months has been, I don't think it's sustainable for Legend Story Studios to have 5 sets in the printer. Doesn't matter how many printers you have. Having 5 different sets in the printer, having WTR, Arcane Rising, Crucible, Monarch, and now we have Tales of Aria all printing, right? Because we can assume that Tales Unlimited is on the horizon. It doesn't seem, that would make your 6th set, it doesn't seem feasible to have 6 sets from a financial perspective at the printer at any given time. And so for me, I thought that they would work in order of chronology when it came to doing this, putting sets out of print. I thought they would start with WTR since it's the oldest, then they would move to Arcane Rising, then Crucible of War Unlimited, and then they'd go on so on and so forth. But this is an interesting choice. They're choosing to move the Crucible of War supplemental set out of print sooner than the base sets, which I didn't think about at the time, but makes a whole lot of sense if you're looking at this from the perspective of, like core sets being incredibly valuable for getting the class cards needed to play a class. So for example, if you wanted to pick up the game, if you're fresh to the game, and you may be watching this video, you're like 2 weeks in. If so, welcome to the game. I'm excited to have you here. I hope you guys enjoy the videos that we make and enjoy playing the game with the community. But if you wanted to jump into the game, and let's say that your favorite new hero was Dash. Dash is from the Arcane Rising set, we'll just put it that way. If you wanted to pick up some mainstay staple Dash cards, a fantastic place to start is the set she's like released in, right? I mean, so Arcane Rising would be the set you'd want to grab if you didn't just go out and buy singles from your local game store or from, like a website, right? By the way, if you want to pick up singles from a website, then I'll put a link in the description. You can use that, and you can support the channel. It's on Channel Fireball. If you want to buy through TCG Player, there's some decent prices there, and I would highly recommend that you check out your local game store to see if they have singles. I know my local game store and a few others around my area are now carrying like Majestic singles, and we'll talk about what this may do to those prices going forward here in a moment. But if you wanted to jump into the game, you would have to buy up like that product and open those packs and get those cards. It makes sense then to rotate first out of print the supplemental set, the set that doesn't technically give you all of the pieces that you would need to play the game. It just supplements the sets prior to it and the classes prior to it. So I don't know why I didn't think about them rotating this one first, but nevertheless, this is incredibly surprising to me because I expected them to announce this closer to whenever they announced Tales of Aria Unlimited is dropping. That was my belief. But again, I think this is really smart. Everything that LSS does, I shouldn't say everything. There's a lot of stuff that LSS does that just makes me go, they're smart over there. And do you know why? They're doing this. They could have waited. They could have just announced this Or they could have kept printing it past into a certain point, or they could have just not announced it until like after all of the distributors had everything and people were starting to buy that product. But instead they announced it now when there's a little bit of a lull in news. Like, yes, the callings are about to happen. In fact, the calling DFW is happening on Friday through Sunday, and I'm going to get to do some commentary again, which is going to be fun, so you should check that out. But outside of those events, there's a lull of news because obviously we're in between sets, and you know, we have like the skirmish season on the horizon after like national championship season, sort of during national champion. I think it's after, but yet this announcement gives us something else to talk about and to observe, and that's really smart from LSS's perspective, even if it's unintended, because now we have something to sink our teeth into and watch unfold for the first time. Because again, remember this, the game just turned 2 years old, so everything we're watching is like the first time some of these things are happening, and this is the first set that is going out of print. So let's talk about what this means from a collectible perspective. If you wanted to pick up unlimited product, up until this point people are like, I can't even get rid of unlimited product, it like has no value. You could buy boxes online for super stupid cheap and just pick up like the singles that you would want from that set if you didn't want to buy the boxes at really cheap. But all of a sudden we're gonna hit this moment where literally Spoils of War is no longer being printed at the printer. And if you want to play Warrior, you want Spoils of War. So it's not going to matter if that card is first edition or if that card is unlimited print run. If neither are being printed anymore and you want a Spoils of War or a Rattlebones or anything like that, all of a sudden you're going to want to pick that up and you're going to want to do it quick, because I have a feeling the prices for these cards will start to rise again. They may be dirt cheap now, but I bet you literally as I'm saying this, the price on like a card like Spoils of War is going to start going up. And this I think is going to be universal for when these sets rotate out of print. Anytime a set rotates out of print, what this is basically saying is that you are no longer going to have access to opening that card in its current iteration or form in its current set. And this is going to be even bigger of a deal for base sets, core sets, things like Welcome to Wraith. Because think about it this way. At this current juncture, you can go to your local game store, get a box of Welcome to Wraith, sit down with 4 friends, and draft said box. Once this is out of print, once WTR is like done, they don't print any more WTR, they could still take a card like Enlightened Strike, for example, and they could still reprint it in a new set. In fact, they're probably going to do that. I will bet money that they will reprint Enlightened Strike so that people that are new to the game next year or the year after have access to Enlightened Strike. But those people will not be able to draft WTR in the way that you can going to a local game store in this exact moment, picking up an unlimited box. That experience will be gone from the world unless you buy unlimited product. And so if you were sitting here going, all these boxes are so dirt cheap and I don't even really need to buy them, like Monarch, for example. Monarch is so cheap right now, right? But as we start to see these sets go out of print, you may go, maybe I do want a case of that. So that down the line in a few years, when it's no longer being printed, I can pull it out for nostalgia factor. I can crack open a box with my friends, and even though we're on set 9, 12, I don't know, of the game, we can still go back to the Monarch days and crack some packs and draft the set. And that's going to make the collectible factor for these sets start to rise. It's also going to make the singles start to rise until we see those cards reprinted. So, for example, if we're talking about Arcane Rising, if you want... I don't want to say Command and Conquer because it's just the lowest of hanging fruit. But if you want to Command and Conquer, you're going to need to pick it up, even at the crazy price it is right now, because it's so incredibly playable. Until they announce that they're reprinting it. I bet you they're going to reprint it sooner rather than later. It's also funny, too, because this is the set that Fyendal Spring Tunic was reprinted in, I should say. And it was the first reprinted card in the game. And now this set's rotating out, so you can only get your hands on it in WTR Unlimited, or if you are just an absolute mad lad and decide to crack an alpha box of Welcome to Wraith. which I don't know how much money you would have to pay me to crack my only box of Welcome to Wraith Alpha. It would have to be a lot of money for me to do that, because that's just crazy. Nevertheless, it's going to make cards like that rise in value. Even the ones that are like easy to get, fairly cheap. Things like, for example, Brute, Massacre in Crucible of War, a fantastic card that is no longer in print as of this post. They're going to have to consider, okay, Brute probably wants to play Massacre. We probably want to start thinking about reprinting some of these powerful Majestics and, you know, getting them into the players' hands as the game grows. So this is going to, this really just marks the game as a turning point and a shift in how Legend Story Studios designs their future sets, because now they have to start thinking about whether or not they're going to reprint certain cards and when. And that's really, really interesting to me. Very, very interesting. It's also going to mean that, like, from a player perspective, you want to grab, like, singles, and you want to pick up things. Maybe you want to complete sets so that you can play whatever you want at any time. That's me. I have to, like, literally go look at my Crucible of War Unlimited stash now, or, like, Crucible of War in general, and see if I'm missing anything. I think I traded for the last thing I was missing, which was Skullhorn. Crap, no, I don't have an Arknight Shard. No, I'm never going to get an Arknight Shard. Oh, no. Oh, they're going to shoot up in price. You guys, this is literally the moment when I just realized that. Oh, no. Oh, man. Oh, crap. Sorry, that was not supposed to be in the video. I didn't even think about that fact. Nevertheless, as a player... Oh, crap, that really hurts. Oh... Oh, that sucks. Okay, as a player, you're going to want to pick up what you want to play. So if you're class-based, if you only like playing Prism, and Monarch feels like it's going to go out of print, which it doesn't right now, but if it does, then you want to grab Prism staples sooner rather than later, right? Complete sets. So at this moment, you should be thinking, is there anything in Crucible of War that I don't have that I'm like, yeah, I'll probably want that. Maybe pick it up sooner rather than later, because you don't want to try and deal with that inflated price. Or what I would recommend is buy boxes from your local game store. Buy boxes from someone that you trust. Maybe go to TCG Player, maybe go to Channel Fireball, pick up some boxes so that you can just have them for that experience down the line. And Crucible of War is interesting because it's a supplemental set. It's not a draftable set in that sense, so it makes things a little bit easier to stomach as far as drafting and sealed, because you can't really do that. It's going to be interesting when we have that moment shift of a core set rotating out. And I do think it was going to be Welcome to Wraith, and I'm surprised that it's not. Nevertheless, Crucible of War is out of print, and I'm never going to get an Arknight Shard. God, that hurts so much. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, let me know in a comment below. What do you think about the idea of an unlimited print set rising in value? I feel like this has sort of been the writing on the wall. Like, it's unfeasible, and this is again what I've been saying. It's unfeasible for them to print like 6 sets all at the same time and keep shipping it and keep shipping it. It doesn't make any sense, right? So eventually this was going to happen, and I'm just kind of blown away that it was Crucible first, but it does make a little bit of sense because it's the one set that you can't draft, and it does just supplement. So that's kind of how I feel on it. That's the news of the evening. Now I'm going to go watch a show. I don't know what I'll do, but this video is going up like right now, so goodbye, good luck. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hit the like and the subscribe if you want to be the person to make this number go to 420. You could do that.